Hello, Marcus Lim here with Scott McCloud's The Sculptor, and this is the freshly released new edition of this magnum opus by Scott McCloud. Okay, so I mean it's not a new release. I mean it is a new release, but the story is about 7 years old now, 2015. Okay, so, but every now and then, like a piece of work like this catches my eye, right? Especially because Neil Gaiman says it's the best graphic novel he's read in years. And so, even though in my channel, normally, it's all about DC stuff, superhero stuff, right? Every now and then, I like to just show you some of these hidden gems, right? And Scott McCloud, if you don't know, but I guess you should probably know, he's the author of like books such as Understanding Comics. That was his first one in 1993, and then he followed that up with Reinventing Comics, and then a couple of years after that, Making Comics. So he's like, he does a lot of books about the theory of comics, or how comics work, kind of stuff. But surprisingly, he's never actually done like a graphic novel, right? And so this is actually his first graphic novel. Took him 5 years apparently. It's 500 pages. It's big, huge. At the back here, it says how it's. We've already seen that quote. Just a few quotes, right? A work of stunning, timeless graphic literature. Yeah, so lots of praise. Let me remove the jacket. This one's not shrink wrap, so nothing really to unwrap this one. But yeah, so that's just the dust jacket. And then without the jacket, it's just like a book style cover, right? So Scott McCloud, Sculptor for the Girl in the Hat, which we later know that it's about the protagonist's love interest. So let me flip through this pretty quickly because there's a lot of pages. But essentially, the premise of the story is the protagonist, David Smith, is like this sculptor, right? Sculptor, who's got big dreams, like any artist would have dreams. But he's kind of like down at the low point in his life. He's not getting anywhere. And so what happens is he sort of makes a deal with death itself, right? Uncle Harry, death incarnate. Pretty much saying, he wants to die for his art, literally. So he's got a choice between like living a normal ordinary life or a short extraordinary life, and so he chooses the later, right? And so he ends up with the gift of being able to sculpt anything he wants. That's like his superpower. However, in exchange, he only gets to live for 200 days. Right? Time is short. 200 days, that's like just a little over half a year. And so so that's the premise, right? David Smith. Things get a little bit better from that point, now that he's got like powers and stuff. So he uses his ability, right? To anything. There you go. 200 days. 200 days. That's the deal. All or nothing. So 200 days, what can you do? Well, he has to make it count, right? And so like look at that. Like in just a short period of time, comes out with all these sculptures. He's got his friend here, Ollie, as well. So there's a few characters in this story. I mean the story obviously right deals a lot about the idea of that starving artist, right, who will die for his art, versus obviously the practical realities of life. Because obviously they still need to live, right? In David's case, yeah, definitely got his low points, especially here at the subway. But yeah, things do turn around. And things actually get a bit more complicated when he meets the love interest of the story, Meg. Okay? Not sure if it's short for Megan, but characters just referred to as Meg. Yeah, and we see, yeah, I think that's when I would say the story picks up a lot, right? We see the beginnings of a blossoming relationship between the two, okay? And from what I read in interviews, Scott McCloud definitely based the character of Meg on his late wife, okay? His late wife, Ivy, who sadly had an accident earlier this year, passed away. But at the time of this publication, yeah, right, Scott McCloud definitely was inspired by, I guess, his wife when he wrote the story and drew the story, and definitely I think he definitely was drawing from a lot of his experience, right? He was writing this. So although it's not exactly an autobiographical story, I would say that definitely there's a lot of elements of himself, right, in the character of David, who's an artist, and obviously Scott McCloud is himself an artist, and a lot of this, I guess, meditation about life and art and love. Yeah, I'm sure that Scott McCloud would be drawing upon his own experience as well. Asking deep questions about what's really important, right? When you're faced with your mortality, in this case, 200 days, what would you do? Like, what are your priorities, right? For an artist, is it about coming up with something permanent that would stand the test of time? Questions like that. Or is it simply enough to be, to, I guess, take in those, like temporary but important moments, right, with each other? I think, it's always that interplay between these three elements, right? Life, love, and art. And so spoiler alert here. Right at the end, something tragic does happen, and it's pretty tragic here. We get to see, Meg actually perishes, which, upon reflection, I thought was a very sad, it's sort of like a sad case of life imitating art, because obviously Scott McCloud's wife did pass away. But definitely serves to further highlight, right, the message that life is short, and so it's important to cherish those moments. And here, at the very end of the story, we see this Scott McCloud definitely using his tools and techniques to really slow time down, right? It's like life flashing before your eyes in the final moments. Okay, look at that. And then boom, all of life in a flashing in an instant. Yeah, definitely a very poignant, that's Meg and the Unborn Baby. But yeah, definitely a very poignant reflection of, yeah, some of these issues that you obviously don't really get in your typical superhero stuff. And so yeah, you know, I would definitely recommend this. I mean, it's not your typical superhero fare, but every now and then it's good to dip into some of these more poignant stories, especially from someone like Scott McCloud, who's like the master of the craft, right? And just be able to reflect on some of these deeper topics, like meditating on life, love, and art. And hope you enjoyed this a little bit different look at a slightly different sort of book that I normally do. But in any case, hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe, and I will see you in another video.